Rather lads, welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is your Arsenal transfer roundup. We are doing it live today to dive into your thoughts on some of the biggest topics that are happening around Arsenal, especially as we progress towards Ricardo Calafiori. The deal is now almost 90% done. Arsenal have presented their first offer to Bologna. Bologna think that offer is not bad, but it is not yet to their satisfaction. And Arsenal are preparing another offer for 55 million euros to see that they can get the deal done. We're going to be diving into a lot has happened today. Mikel Arteta has come out and confirmed that they're working very hard. They're really working on some deals behind the scenes. And he says in June, there's some things that happened. There's some things that didn't go in their way. There's some regulations that they had to navigate around. But right now in July, the focus is to do deals. The focus is to get signings done. And they're 100% sure on what they want to do. So that is not a point of concern. Ricardo Calafiori, Arsenal have offered their first offer, obviously to Bologna. We're going to talk about that. That offer is around 40 to 45 million euros. But Bologna think it's not yet there. It is not that they're asking Arsenal to, up their offer. PSG, Chelsea, Bayer Leverkusen, Juventus, all these clubs have dropped out of the race. It's Arsenal now between them and Bologna. If we fail to agree a deal between us and the club, then maybe another club can come in and do the work. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Arsenal are pretty much wrapping up this one. Who's going to be our next signing as well? Who should be our next signing as well? Let me know in the comment box below. Who do you want Arsenal to sign next after Ricardo Calafiori? Is it Kimmich? Is it Williams? Or is it Eberechi Eze? Those three are very, very much wanted by Arsenal. According to Team News and Ticks, many people appreciate Eberechi Eze at Arsenal. Nico Williams is number one priority in terms of Arsenal wingers. That's according to The Athletic. And Joshua Kimmich is one of the players admired by Arsenal, but also one of the players that admire Arsenal and is available this summer. Good evening. Where are you watching me from? Thank you so much for joining me once again. It's a beautiful, beautiful evening for us to do the Arsenal transfer roundup. Now, let's start off with the big story on Ricardo Calafiori. Arsenal presented their first offer for Ricardo Calafiori today, and it was not accepted. I don't want to say rejected because I think it was very close to what Bologna were asking for. And maybe Arsenal thought that the best strategy, and that has always been our strategy. The best strategy is always to go in with an initial offer that is less than what they're asking for. So, but what Arsenal did this time, we went in for something with around 40 to 45 million euros. That is very different from the past where Arsenal could want Luis Suarez and then we go in with 20 million, we go in with 25 million, disgrace ourselves, embarrass ourselves. I think Arsenal are different these days. We no longer disgrace ourselves. At times we do, but in the market these days, I would say Arsenal no longer disgrace themselves. So we've gone in with an offer that is respectable. We've gone in with an offer that is commendable. 40 to 45 million euros is what is believed. I think 40 million euros guaranteed and 5 million euros in add-ons. Now, Bologna were quickly to tell Arsenal that is not going to do the deal. That is not enough. Yes, it's a good deal, for the player, but it is not enough. We were looking for 50 to 55 million euros. And therefore, according to Court Offside and also other outlets in Italy, Corriere dello Sport, Corriere Bologna, and also Tutto Mercato Web, they have reported that Arsenal are now expected to make a 55 million euro bid for Ricardo Calafiori, and that will be impossible for Bologna to turn down. So that is going to be the final offer that Arsenal make. And most reports are saying that the deal should be closed this week. The deal should be closed by this weekend. So I don't have a problem with Arsenal's first offer. Like, I'm one of those people, and I said it yesterday, Arsenal must 100% make sure we don't disgrace ourselves. We must make sure that we don't annoy Bologna. And I think the relationship that we have between us and the club has seen us go from second favorites or third favorites in this deal to favorites right now. With Arsenal being there, Bologna know they have a well-disciplined club that can pay the amount of money they want, a well-disciplined club that can respect them in negotiations. So what Bologna didn't want with Juve, it was the disrespect they had from Juventus when they took their manager. That is why Bologna have been 100% saying, we are not giving you another player. We are not giving you Calafiori. You disrespected us. You don't have a good relationship with us. You burned some bridges. You broke the bridges between you and us. Our relationship is no longer, at a good standpoint. So Arsenal, because of that Tomiyasu deal, Arsenal had already laid a good foundation with Bologna, and that 45 million bid showed Bologna that we are serious. And I think with Juventus saying that is too much, that is too expensive, with Chelsea saying it's we would want to pay 45 or 50 million, but we would rather include players in that deal rather than paying money up front. That put Arsenal in poor position. That put Arsenal at priority position, because we were the only club that told Bologna, we think 50 million is all right. We think we can pay that much. And we think your player is actually worth 50 million euros. It's very important when you're negotiating with a club to make them feel and to make them understand that you value their standpoint and you value their valuation of the player. So that's what Arsenal have done. And for a club to respect you enough to come and bid 45 million, yet you want 50 million. You're asking for around 50 million. And then the club comes in with 45 million. That means there is purpose of intent. That's the purpose of intent. And that also means that there is a lot of respect from Arsenal to Bologna. But I also think that why Arsenal have done that is we don't have time. We really don't have time. I'm going to talk about Mikel Arteta and why he's been explaining why deals didn't happen in June. That leaves us with very little time. As a manager who has already started preseason in Spain, as a manager who has already started preparing for a new season, as a manager who has said that the first option for him is to go for 114 points. He wants to win each and every game next season. If you're that manager, if you're Mikel Arteta, that means that you don't have a lot of time. You've got to sign your players quickly. You've got to build your squad quickly. You've got to strengthen your squad quickly, because Man City wait for no man. Time waits for no man. There are two things that wait for no man: Manchester City and Arsenal. And time. Because with time, it can never wait for you. With Man City, regardless of what kind of deals you're trying to do, regardless of how much you're gonna spend, Man City will never wait for you. So Arsenal have to strengthen quickly. Arsenal have to strategize quickly. What are we going to do next season? How are we going to approach next season? And what is the strategy to beat Manchester City? I think the idea will be starting better next season. Martin Odegaard was speaking about it in one of the interviews he did with SCBS, and he said last season the reason as to why we didn't win the title, we didn't start very well, right? We didn't start very well. So next season we want to start very well. We want to start well, and we also want to end the season very, very well. So this one, guys, I'm going to say 9 out of 10, it's done. 90%, this one is done. I don't see how Arsenal go in with 45 plus 5 million, 45 plus 5 million in add-ons, and that is turned down. I think Bologna also know. I think it was the ex-CEO at Bologna who said it is very difficult for and very, very bad that such talents are leaving the league, are leaving Italy. But at the moment, 45 million is too much and very expensive for Italian clubs. And that is true. Remember last season, Juventus lost around, was it 20 points? Or something close to maybe let's say 16 points, right? Because I remember they had the first points deduction, and then they had a second points deduction as well. So when you factor into the fact that they have to be very careful with FFP, PSR, maybe those are not there, but they have to be very careful with how they spend their money. There are regulations that curb how they can spend their money in Europe, especially in the UEFA Champions League. That means that Juve cannot afford Calafiori. And that means that there are not so many Italian clubs that can afford Calafiori. I think Juve, when I look at the deals that they're trying to do, Kefren Thuram, I think that's around 22 million pounds to 30 million pounds. Even the other deals they're trying to negotiate is around there. So that gives Arsenal a massive advantage that if we can pay 45 and no other club is willing to come close, and Bologna are asking for an extra 5 or an extra 10, Arsenal still can go and do that deal. So this one for me, pretty much done. Now, when Arsenal send in that second offer, obviously it's going to be the last one. When Arsenal send in that 55 million euro offer, I expect each and every other team that have been around waiting a little bit to see what happens to actually back down. Because today we have been told that Chelsea are now prepared to walk away from this deal. I don't know. I don't know which kind of players they were thinking they were going to give Bologna. Maybe Chukwemeka. Maybe who else? Kalmad Sonodoy. Is he a Nottingham Forest player by now? Maybe he's a Nottingham Forest player by now. I don't know, right? But the reason that's why Chelsea could not beat us in this bidding war was Arsenal have cash. And that is something we have seen in the past 3 years. Arsenal have their cash. Signed Thomas Partey for £45 million, cash. Signed Odegaard, cash. Signed Ben White, cash. Signed Declan Rice, cash. And by the way, mind you, Arsenal have a couple of good players we could include in these deals. We also have Edin Ketia. We also have Rhys Nelson. We also have Jakub Kivio. Kivio is wanted by a couple of clubs. And I think Bologna, as they look to replace Calafiori, I don't think Miranda is going to be the guy that replaces him 100%. They have signed him as a replacement. And that again shows you that this deal is pretty much done, right? But they have signed a replacement. But if you give them Kivio, that would be a wonderful deal. So Chelsea were looking to add players to this deal, to negotiations. And straight away, I said, Chelsea are the guys talking nonsense on this table. If you tell me, spot the one team that is talking nonsense on the negotiation table for Ricardo Calafiori, it was Chelsea. Like I said yesterday, I don't know why Leverkusen were there. I think Leverkusen cannot compete with Arsenal right now. They cannot compete with Chelsea right now. Oh, yes, they've had a good season. They've won, some titles. And Glenn was telling me, listen, they have a good project. But I don't think Leverkusen's prospect and future and project is for the next 10 years. I don't think. They have a manager who has given them a massive favor. He's done them a massive favor by staying there. Otherwise, we are going to see their manager leave. We're going to see Xabi Alonso leave next summer. So I don't think Calafiori is looking to join a club whose manager might leave and whose best players might leave in 1 year or 2 years. Because think about it, Vats will leave, Grimaldo will leave, Frimpong will leave, Jonathan Tah is leaving. The whole team is leaving. Honestly, the whole team is leaving. So Calafiori to Leverkusen, I never thought that was an option. So that 55 million is only threatened and would have been only threatened if Chelsea had clean cash, if Chelsea had clean money. Now, I wouldn't write off competition. I think 55 million can be made by PSG. I think it can be made by Bayern. Clubs always try to hijack deals on the final day, in the final hours. So I'm not saying Arsenal, don't do this quickly now. I'm not saying we shouldn't move quickly. We should move quicker than ever because anyone can come in, look at the deal, look at the points that have been agreed, and add 5 million on top of that, and maybe add bigger wages to the player on top of that, and then the deal is in turmoil. Remember, he's not 100% only thinking about Arsenal. He's thought about Juve, and he said, if Juve cannot sign me, it's okay, well and good. I'm going to go to Arsenal. So that kind of player can agree personal terms with anyone. That kind of player can join any other club. And that tells you that the other philosophy of Mikel Arteta saying, I want players that only want Arsenal, that really works, but not all the time. Because the top players, not all the top players that you want to bring in your side are thinking about you. Not all the top players that you want to sign are actually thinking about Arsenal all the time. Players are thinking about Juve. Players are thinking about Bayern. You look at Xavi Simons. Xavi Simons has been offered a role at Bayern as a number 10 and as a winger as well. So that shows you that Arsenal have to favorably compete with other playmakers in the market, with other clubs in the market. And that's what we've done. We've just outcompete Chelsea and and Bayer Leverkusen and PSG. Now, The reason as to why a player plus cash deal didn't have was never going to work, and why Arsenal didn't even think about it, because I saw many people telling me, why don't we get a player, add some 30 million, and sign Calafiori? Now, the reason as to why that deal was never going to work, this is a deal that has Basso in the background. Basso own 50% of the player. They're going to take 50% of whatever Bologna make. So if Bologna agree a deal for 15 million and they get a player, that really doesn't work very well, because they might end up, if the whole deal is valued at 30 million and there is a player plus cash deal, and then the cash is 15 million, all the cash is going to go to Basso. So what Bologna have decided is this: if Basso are going to take 50% of this money, let us agree with the club that is ready to pay cash. Guess who's ready to pay cash? Arsenal are ready to pay cash. So a second bid should be coming in by tomorrow, probably. Most of the outlets are reporting that this deal should be done by the weekend. If there is anything new on this one tonight, I'll also give you an update. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel, right? I don't want to put the only subscribers mode, because I want everyone to have access to the comment section, but make sure you subscribe, because I always post on the community, and if you're not subscribed, you will not be able to see the post notifications. So subscribe, so that when I post something on the community tab, you're one of the first people to know. So this one, guys, pretty much done. Pretty much done. Fabrizio has said that despite rumors about PSG and Leverkusen, he is told the only club in the race right now to sign the player, Calafiori, is Arsenal. Chelsea have been there and they are still there, but they're watching the situation. I think when he says Chelsea are there, he's referring to when Arsenal were there for the Rafinha deal. You remember? He said Barcelona favorites. Chelsea have agreed personal terms as well as Arsenal, but Arsenal are not willing to go into bidding war, so they are there waiting. You're never going to sign him. When Fabrizio says that you're there, you're never going to get the deal done. This is not your deal. This is not your player. Because Fabrizio saying that you are there literally means that you are dormant in that deal. So Chelsea, with their crap of we want to add players to this deal, we want to do this and that, that's unnecessary right now. It's purely unnecessary. So guys, are you now confident? Let me know. Are you confident that Calafiori is going to be our second signing of the summer? We're going to talk about David Raya. His signing has been announced today. We've got a couple of quotes to run into. Mikelata talking about him, Edu talking about him, and the players sent a message to Brentford as well, and also to Arsenal fans as well. But are you confident on Ricardo Calafiori now? Jeff, hope you're doing well, Jeff. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Emma, good evening to you too. John, good evening to you too as well. Mohamuza says, because we love you so much, compare for me Zinchenko and Calafiori. So Alexander Zinchenko and Calafiori, two different players. So let's start off with the similarities. If you want to compare the similarities between these two, you're going to look at both of them in possession, because out of possession, they're very different players. But in possession, that is where their similarities can overlap a little bit. So Calafiori is a player that is comfortable on the ball. Alexander Zinchenko is also very comfortable on the ball. But again, in possession, despite the fact that both of them are comfortable in possession and comfortable on the ball, they are very different when it comes to what they do with the ball. So with Alexander Zinchenko, quickly, when Arsenal are in possession, maybe it's a free kick on a half, maybe it's it's a goal kick. He looks to tuck into the midfield quickly. He looks to join the midfield. He looks to join up with Partey and Jorginho and Declan Rice in that midfield. So Zinchenko is a key part of Arsenal's build-up. If you've seen him while we are in possession, if you've seen him play, he's a very key part of Arsenal's possession. Actually, he's one of the players that I think Mikelata will use a lot next season, especially in the last 20 minutes of the game, especially in the last 15 minutes of the game. Because for him, he loves to take care of the ball. He can take care of the ball very well. So despite the fact that the two are very good in possession, I think Zinchenko is more of a passer. just making things tick. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. He receives, he passes. He receives, he passes. The other thing that Zinchenko does, and of course they're very similar again to Calafiori in this, they're very good at breaking enemy lines. They're very good at breaking opposition defensive blocks. But the way they do it again is very different. So with Alexander Zinchenko, if you again, we've seen him enough at Arsenal to know that he's one of the players that have got the quality to play that ball over the top. Plays it for Martinelli, plays it for Kai, plays it for Saka. He's got that ability to just look at the defensive line of the enemy and just play that ball over the top. Again, when you ask him to play a ground breaking pass on the ground, he's got that ability as well. But Calafiori is not like that. Calafiori in possession doesn't look to tuck into the midfield and maybe form a box midfield. Maybe Mikelata will actually transform into that. But in possession, he wants to be like Rudiger. I don't know if you've watched Rudiger enough for Madrid, for Germany as well. Rudiger is one of the players that have the ability to drive the ball from his own defense into the penalty area. If I'm lying, Sekos, you're lying. I think in terms of centre backs, by the way, let me say this. In terms of centre backs, modern centre backs right now, Rudiger is the best dribbler and ball carrying defender. He's the best. I mean, yes, I don't watch many, but when I watch the Champions League, I do get to watch the creme de la creme in Europe. And Rudiger's charisma, his ability to just pick up the ball, drive. It's impressive. Honestly, it's purely impressive. So that is Ricardo Calafiori for you. He wants to carry the ball. He does carry the ball and drive with it. And then when it comes into midfield, he releases it for maybe an Odegaard, maybe a Declan Rice. So he carries the ball into the final third, but he doesn't look to play that final ball into the striker, that final ball into the wingers, right? He plays it, he carries it, and he gives it to the midfielders, right? But with Alexander Zinchenko, he doesn't carry the ball that much. He doesn't dribble that much, but he's always available for a pass. He's always available as a passing option, and he's got that ability to break the line, to break the lines of of the other opposition. That is why Mikel Arteta always plays him. And even in the game that we played Aston Villa, that we lost 2-0, that is the reason as to why he played in that game. And earlier on in the first half, if you remember, Arsenal had a couple of chances. Arsenal had a couple of balls that were flying over the midfield of Aston Villa into their final third. Ask yourself, there was no Partey in that game, and there was no Jorginho in that game. Odegaard didn't play to his best, and so did Declan Rice. Who was playing those balls? Who was playing those balls over the top that Kai Havertz was running onto? Who was playing those balls over the top that our players were running onto? It was Alexander Zinchenko. So in terms of in possession, when Arsenal are on the ball, they are comfortable in possession, but both of them look to do different things. With Calafiori, is looking to drive, is looking to create different things on the ball. With Zinchenko, is looking to be in possession. That's why with Zinchenko, Arsenal have many touches. He passes to Jorginho, he gets it back. He passes to Odegaard, he gets it back. With Calafiori, he would allow Arsenal to attack with less touches or with less passes because he can drive that ball from defense into attack with himself. And then he releases the pass to Odegaard. Odegaard will release Kai Havertz. Boom, rapapa, papa, frapapa, goal. So you would have three players creating a goal. Okay, 4 players. Raya, Calafiori, Odegaard, and then Havertz, papa, goal. We saw that with the goal they scored against Croatia when he set up Matej Zakanyi. So that move actually starts with the goalkeeper, Donnarumma. He releases the ball into Calafiori. Calafiori runs into midfield, and he runs into the midfield. He passes that ball into I think it's Fagioli that he passes the ball into, or Pellegrini, one of those two. when Pellegrini is fouled, the ball comes back into Calafiori. But what is interesting about Calafiori there, the position in which he is in. He's in that position where your number 8 should be. So he's in the position that Declan Rice should be. He's in the position that Barella actually is supposed to be picking up. So he picks up that ball, and because he's a centre back, all the other midfielders are being occupied, and they're occupying other Croatian players. So he's the only one in that midfield. He just drives to the edge of the penalty area, and as they come to close him down, there is a space opening up for Mattia Zaccagni. He plays a well-weighted ball for Mattia Zaccagni, and Zaccagni finishes off very, very well. So how many players did touch the ball for Italy for that goal? Donnarumma, Calafiori, I think it's Pellegrini, right? Pellegrini and Zaccagni. 4 players, and it's a goal. It reminds you of the goal that was scored last season. I think it was against Burnley. Raya throws the ball. It's a counter-attack. Raya throws the ball into Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel Jesus runs very quickly, and then he squares the ball for Trossard. Trossard removes one player. Goal. So what those kind of goals do is, in games that are very tight, in games that you cannot unlock, the opposition could get a corner, and you could look to break very quickly. That's what the likes of Calafiori do. They can help you in terms of breaking. They can help you in terms of counterattacks. Out of possession, defensively, I know this is what you want, but I'm sorry, I've got to say it. Defensively, Calafiori is a million times better. A million times better. Listen to me. A million times better than Zinchenko. So with Alexander Zinchenko, the first thing that I blame about him is like Trent Alexander-Arnold. They don't have the awareness to understand who am I marking and where is the player I'm marking. That is the difference between the two. They don't have that awareness. They don't have that that intelligence to know. Maybe they have the intelligence because Zinchenko is a very intelligent footballer, but they always lose track of that player that is running behind them. So they're easy to blindside. They're easy to run past. With Calafiori, he's a very aware player of his surroundings. He's very aware of his surroundings. He knows who is where and what am I supposed to do with him? Who am I marking in what kind of space? If he moves into the midfield and maybe Declan Rice moves into left back, Calafiori will take care of the midfielder. Maybe it's Kevin De Bruyne, maybe it's Bernardo Silva. That is the disadvantage with Alexander Zinchenko. So defensively, Calafiori is aware. Secondly, in terms of aerial duels, oh my God, Alexander Zinchenko is a disaster when it comes to aerial duels. I don't know. Has Alexander Zinchenko ever won an aerial duel? Like, has he ever gone in the air with another player and he's won that aerial duel? Okay, that might be an exaggeration. But what I'm trying to say is, in terms of aerial duels, Calafiori is a million times better. A million times the better player. So what Arsenal are getting, if I was compared to you, for you the two, they're getting a player that has some attributes of Alexander Zinchenko, and he has his defensive game much better, really, really much better. And also, if Calafiori played at left back, we would have a left back that is willing to cross the ball. We would have a left back that has speed. Zinchenko doesn't really have that speed. You see him; he looks to play the ball safely. He looks to take care of the ball, and safety is paramount for him. So Calafiori takes a lot of risks as compared to Zinchenko. He runs that, he will bombard, bomb down that line. He will bring in crosses. He will give a lot of support to Gabriel Martinelli. I hope I've answered that question because it's one that I really, really enjoyed when you asked it. Okay, let's see. Lots of people in the comments. Innocent says, I want Arsenal to sign Nico Williams next. That is massive. Cossy, this deal is almost. What is the situation at the moment? So the situation at the moment is Arsenal are pretty much 90% done with this one. If Arsenal can 100%, announce that they have agreed that deal with Bologna, it will be done and sealed. And actually, I think at the moment, Arsenal should start working on another deal, because this one is a deal where most of the clubs that were interested have actually backed out. That tells you everything you need to know. Cossy, any news you have on Amadou Onana now that Belgium were eliminated from the Euros? Let me tell you, this is funny. Do you know that I had forgotten that Belgium were eliminated from the Euros? Now, no, I don't have any news on Amadou Onana apart from the fact that Arsenal appreciate him, and Arsenal have contacted Everton to understand what would it take to do the deal. I don't have any new updates, but thank you for reminding me that the player actually is is out of the Euros. Now, today as well, Arsenal have announced the signing of David Raya officially. The contract he has signed is up to 2028. It's a 4-year deal, and Arsenal are very, very pleased to have him. So on the Arsenal website, they say that David Raya has signed on a long-term contract with club to complete his permanent move from Brentford. The 28-year-old goalkeeper has spent last season with us on loan and was an integral part of the success we enjoyed and the history we made. He made 41 appearances in all. Wow, 41 appearances. Wow, this I thought. Wow, I thought he had made like 38. 41 appearances. That's interesting. He made 41 appearances in all competitions, keeping 20 clean sheets, 16 of those in the Premier League, and earned David the 2023-24 Premier League Golden Glove. Born in Barcelona, Spain, he arrived in England at the age of 16, signing for Blackburn Rovers. He tested success in Lancashire, gaining the first promotion to the Champions League and making 108 senior appearances for the club. Part of his development at Blackburn included a short-term spell on loan at Southport. In the summer of 2019, David moved to Brentford, and including last season, he spent 4 years contracted to the West London club, a key player for Thomas Frank. He made 161 appearances in all competitions for them, keeping 54 clean sheets, including in his debut season. The 16, which saw him crowned joint winner of the Championship Glove Award. A year later, he helped the Bees win promotion to the Premier League. After joining us on loan in August, David enjoyed a truly impressive campaign. He complemented his strong league form with some fine displays in Europe, most notably the penalty shootout against FC Porto in the UEFA Champions League round of 16, when he served 2 spot kicks to send us into the quarterfinals of the competition for the first time in 14 years. David also helped his country, Spain. He didn't. It was Unai Simon, right? I'm a big Spain fan. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. But here they say he helped Spain to silverware when they defeated Netherlands to lift the 2023 UEFA Nations League. In preparation for Euro 2024, he kept a clean sheet in Spain's 5-0 against Andorra last month, and another in their final group game at the tournament, a 1-0 victory against Albania. Everyone at the club is delighted to have David back at Arsenal. On making his move, David said, after a 1-year loan as a Ghana, I can finally say that I'm happy as an Arsenal player for the coming years. I'm excited to see what the future holds, but I'm always living in and enjoying the present as well. It's a dream come true to be here. I want to thank you all for the support you have already given me throughout last year. Every player says it's a dream to be here. Every player. Like, how many dreams do players have? Like, there's some players that play for 10 clubs and they always say it's a dream to be here. Sporting director Edu said, we are so happy to have completed the deal to sign David Raya from Brentford. He had a beautiful season with us last season, winning the Premier League Golden Glove. He's a talented international goalkeeper, a great professional, and a popular figure at the club. We benefited from all of his efforts last season during his loan with us. David's signing is another strong example of our recruitment strategy in action as we continue to build a team that will challenge for major trophies. We know there is so much to come from him, and we're excited that he will continue to be a big part of the journey that we are all on. Manager Mikel Arteta said David showed us last season what an important player he is for us. So we are delighted he is now officially our player. He's a big presence in our dressing room, and we are really, really pleased to keep him and keep him working with us. We know he will take the strong foundations he put in last season and build on them in the years to come, and he will enjoy more success with us. We have a very, very talented group of goalkeepers, and I love to see connections, and I love to see the connections that we see every single time, especially in our goalkeeping unit. The transfer is subject to the completion of regulatory processes. Um, this transfer has just confirmed that Ramsdale must be leaving Arsenal. Like, this transfer, if you're Ramsdale, this is your final warning. Your place at Arsenal has been taken. There was a feeling, maybe there was a chance that Arsenal maybe don't like Raya after one season. They send him back, and we stay with Ramsdale. After this official signing, it's over for Ramsdale. I'm sorry, it's over, and that's all I'm going to say about this one. Let's get into Mikel Arteta's comments on transfers. If you've watched my recent video, my recent upload, I've talked about it. I wanted to break the news for you so that you could, digest it. But now we react to it. So Mikel Arteta was asked about transfers as part of his media kit, right? And he said, we are trying to improve, and we are working to improve in all areas of the pitch. That is defense, attack, goalkeeping, and midfield. Arsenal are trying to add a player in each and every department. And Arsenal, we could see Arsenal making around 5 signings. We could see Arsenal making a signing in each and every part of the field. And that is incredible because last summer, still, Arsenal made a signing in every department of the pitch. We signed a goalkeeper. We signed Julian Timber. We signed Declan Rice in midfield. And we signed Kai Havertz, who's a midfielder and ended up as an attacker or a striker. So that means that Mikel is not done yet. It means that, whatever we achieved last season, 89 points, 91 goals scored, 29 goals conceded, Mikel Arteta was not impressed. Maybe he was impressed, but he was not satisfied, right? And he was asked about the new season, and he said, how many points are you looking at? How many points are going to be enough to take the Premier League trophy? And he said 114. I don't agree with Mikel, obviously. 114 points is ridiculous. Like, for us to go and get 114 points, that would be mind-blowing. But one thing I agree with Mikel Arteta is if you're going to go toe-to-toe with Man City, you must improve every single season. I think it was Simon Jordan. It was Simon Jordan because I really, really follow Simon Jordan on TalkSport. He said, after our first good season, he said, now what Arsenal have to do, go and spend 200 million every single summer on sensible signings. Don't go and sign Lukaku. Don't go and sign Pogba because those will flop. But go and sign the Declan Rices of this world. Go and sign the good players. Strengthen your squad. Make sure that you are, you are strong enough if you're going to go against Man City. So, look, Mikel Arteta has always made it very clear. If there is a chance to strengthen, we'll do it. If there is a chance to improve, we'll do it. But I think for rival clubs, this summer from Arsenal is a warning sign. It's a warning to be worried. It's a warning to be afraid. It's a warning to be frightened. Imagine Arsenal having the seasons we have had in the last 2 years. Imagine Arsenal having the squad we have had in the last 2 years. And then just going on to, sign 5 more players or 4 more players, 4 more quality players. If we bring in Eze, Kimmich, Calafiori, and Gyökeres, that is already too much. That's already a lot, right? I don't think Premier League clubs are ready, but it shows that Mikel Arteta is very, very committed because he's already said that he's happy to be Arsenal manager. He's not going to go anywhere. So anyone who wants him to go anywhere, anyone who wants him to leave Arsenal, he's not going anywhere. He's gonna be Arsenal manager this season, next season, the season after that, and every single season they're looking to build a team that will win silverware, a team that will dominate Europe as well. So I asked you, how many signings do you think will put Arsenal at that level? Let me know. Hi, Cossy. How are you doing, Matthew? How are you doing, Arthur? How are you doing, Vianney? Thank you so much for being there, on the live. Lonkare says, who are the academy players promoted for 2024? 2025 to the first team. So Ethan Onwere is the interesting one. And I think you're not going to see many because Walters has left, Cossy Dubry has left. Chido Obi Martin will not be promoted, in my opinion. But I think Arsenal giving him a new deal shows that they appreciate him and they want him to stay. So Chido Obi Martin might not be one of the players that Arsenal promote, but maybe in the next 2 years we might see Chido Obi Martin. Charlie Patino, I would love him to be promoted, but he's had a couple of loan deals and maybe he feels he has to leave this Arsenal side. So the players that you're going to see from the academy are going to be Ethan Nwaneri. And I'm excited, by the way. I'm really, really excited. I'm really excited to see Ethan Nwaneri next season. Whether that means that ESR has to leave, whether that means that Arsenal have to get rid of Emil Smith-Rowe, I don't know. But Ethan Nwaneri, for you who's asking for players from the academy, Nwaneri is one to look at. Bukenya says 5 signings. 5 signings, 1 in goal, 2 in midfield, 1 in defense, and 1 in attack. Okay, that's impressive. Alex says we need a backup for Saka. I think we need someone who's versatile. I think we need someone who's versatile. Austin says we need 4 signings. Okay, that's pretty much what I think. Joshua says, Cossy, if we buy Calafiori, is it better we let Zini move on instead of Kivio? Does Kivio really play when Calafiori comes in? Because in terms of hierarchy, it is Calafiori, Timber, Tomiyasu, Kivio, maybe Zinchenko, Kivio. So Kivio is at the bottom of the pyramid. That's why I'm asking, does he play again when we get a player like Calafiori? Does he play again? I think Kivio would be good. I think it would be good to let Kivio go because we have good offers for him. Alex says, I think Dwight McNeil for Everton can be no. Instead of Dwight McNeil, we could go for Harvey Barnes. Instead of Dwight McNeil, we could go for Harvey Barnes. I really, really do like Harvey Barnes. Dwight McNeil is a crossing merchant. He's a cross. I read him, by the way. I read him. I think I read Dwight McNeil more than I read Callum Hudson-Odoi. I think I read him more than I read Reece Nelson. But I wouldn't take him at Arsenal, really. I think it's more of a Sean Dyche kind of Dyche player. I think it's more like a Dyche player. Cross it in. Run. I'm not convinced about Dwight McNeil. Guys, I'm not convinced about Dwight McNeil. Alex, I'm not. Funny Run says, I will like to see Zinchenko in midfield next season. Who do you drop? Vianney says, I think Chido is important to Arsenal, and I think Arsenal is important to him as well. Yeah, true. Peter says, hi, Cossy, we need to strengthen all departments because we have 4 important cups to fight for next season. Is Mikel Arteta thinking about 4 important cups? Is he thinking about 4 important cups, really? Maybe he's thinking about like 2. He doesn't want the FA Cup. He doesn't want the Carabao Cup. He doesn't even consider them important. Matthew says, hi, Cossy, I'm watching live from South Sudan. Big up to people in SS. I would love to have the South Sudan dollar, by the way. I would like ask them to sign the following players. Raya is done, yes. Calafiori is in advanced stages, yes. Gyökeres, and then Johan Bakayoko. Okay. Saspo says, Cossy, I saw a transfer hint on the football terrace, Saliba to Madrid. I didn't want to talk about it, guys. I didn't want to talk about it. But since you brought it up, what can I do? I've got to talk about it now. But I didn't want to talk about Saliba to Madrid because I'm not convinced about that one. I'm not convinced about it. But let's talk about it. Now, In the transfer window, I want to let you know anything can happen in transfer windows. You can see Saliba to Madrid. You can see Gabriel to Saudi Arabia. You can see Odegaard leaving. Anything can happen in the transfer window. Just to let you know that anything can happen in the transfer window. Arsenal lost Cesc Fabregas. Arsenal lost Thierry Henry. Arsenal lost Robin van Persie to Manchester United. Cristiano Ronaldo, when Man United were at their peak, at the peak of their powers, they lost Cristiano Ronaldo to Madrid. So anything can happen in the transfer window. So Saliba to Madrid, I'm not going to say it is 100% zero. However, this is what I'm going to say. All the sources that have linked Saliba to Madrid are unreliable. That's number one. All the sources that link Saliba to Madrid do not have credibility. So I cannot sit here and say Fabrizio has said. I cannot sit here and say David Onstein thinks that we are going to lose him. No. So it is these Madrid fan accounts that are literally saying there's a possibility of Saliba to Madrid. What I can confirm, though, is that a couple of clubs want William Saliba. He's played so well. He's played so well at the Euros. Clubs are looking at him. Clubs are crazy about him. But at this point in time, I wouldn't say, and I can't say, that Saliba is going to Madrid or PSG. There are two clubs that want him: PSG and Madrid. Bayern are not. Bayern are not, because I've seen also people saying Bayern want him. Bayern 100% want to sign Jonathan Tah, and they've also signed another defender, I think, from Stuttgart. So with William Saliba, the chance of him leaving Arsenal right now is like 1 out of 10. But that 1 out of 10 could mature quickly if Madrid have 120 million, right? Remember, when I look at that Madrid defense, yes, they have a good team, but it is shake the mango tree, shake the mango tree. If you have a good player like Martinelli, he's going to make them dance Macarena. So when I think about Eder Militao, that is not a quality player. When I think about Alaba, he's quality, but he's getting older. Rudiger, best in the world, but he's getting older. So they might need one for the future. They might need one to trust for the future. And maybe they might need a center back that is a little bit calm as compared to Eder Militao. So I know that there is interest from a couple of clubs, but I think there are only two clubs that can afford him: Madrid and PSG. So I'm going to ask you two guys in the comments, how much would you sell Saliba for? 100, 120, 90, 80, 150, 200? How much would you sell him for? Because we have seen players like Joao Felix go for crazy amounts of money. We have seen Neymar go for crazy amounts of money. And that's what I would love with Arsenal. I would love us to just tell clubs, well, thank you so much for coming in to try and sign a player. We are valuing him at 165 million pounds. 120 million pounds must be paid up front. I would love to see. Now, listen, this is a prediction. It might not come this summer, but Arsenal, in one of these years, Arsenal will make a significant sell. Maybe 80 million plus, maybe 70 million plus, around there, plus. We'll make a significant sell. So I won't be surprised if one player that is worth 80 million or 90 million leaves Arsenal next summer or the summer after that or the summer after that. Man, we've seen them. We've seen these things. Like Ozil leaving Madrid, Di Maria leaving Madrid, Benzema leaving Madrid later on in his career, Ronaldo leaving Madrid later on in the career, Bale leaving. It happens. When you win everything, at the moment, I think Arsenal have not won very much. So I think our players will stay. But when you win everything, when you win the Premier League and you win the Champions League, you're going to see the likes of, the way Mane left. You're going to see such deals, start happening. Mane goes to Bayern. Why? It happens, right? Such kind of deals happen. But at the moment, Saliba, no, I don't say it. But it's a very good observation. I didn't want to talk about it, but you brought it up, so we talk about it. Austin says, Saliba is not for sale. Let them first be patient. Yeah, I think if they want him, he's around 20, what, 22, 23 right now. Let them give him 6 years. They can get him at 29. Emma says 180 million. Freddie says if Isak is 200 million, Saliba is 220. Period. Period. Okay. Ismail says as Arsenal transfers are slow. So Mikel Arteta has also explained why our transfers have been slow this summer, and literally he has said there's some regulations that you have to work with. So the space is regulated. I think it is different from when Arsene Wenger was in this market. It is different from when Ferguson was in this market. Because when Ferguson was in this market, you could just wake up and you're like, Arsenal have a player called Van Persie. Give me Van Persie. But now it's different. Transfers are more expensive than they were. Can you believe that Arsenal didn't get 50 million for Van Persie? Can you believe that? I don't care if it was the last year of his deal, right? I don't care. Can you believe that Arsenal didn't get 50 million from Van Persie? And these days, players in their last year are going for crazy amounts of money. So the market has changed, and you have to change as fans. Dalton says 280 million for euros for Saliba. Austin says Saliba is not for sale. Sam Smart says Saliba 150 million. Asibo says 500 million. Frank says put a release clause of 200 million in his contract just to make sure that no one gets him. Okay. John says, what's the update on Calafiori deal? Like you have seen the title and the thumbnail. Arsenal did go in with their first offer, and we are preparing a second offer for 55 million euros. I wanted Mbappe to play attacking, says Austin. You wanted Mbappe at Arsenal. Interesting. Alex says we have to be careful of the PFF rules and PSR. Otherwise, books have to be balanced. Look, we are in a new financial year. Right? So I think Arsenal really know how to deal with all that. Okay. Ishmael says some players will play in other cups. All right. And then guess who says if Madrid sign Euro, it would make sense to get Saliba. He's potentially world class, and his ceiling is just as high as Saliba. Yeah, I think Madrid will get Euro. I think Madrid will get Euro. Otherwise, there's no way why Man United would not be there's no reason as why Man United would not get him. So I think Euro wants Madrid. Madrid wants Euro. They'll get that deal done. Francis, I don't know what your name is. Francis, you're one of the most stupid people that have ever been on this channel and in the comments. Thank you. Alex says, Cossy, talk about the outgoing players. Now, I've done a comprehensive video, guys. I've done a comprehensive video in terms of outgoings and incomings, but let me give you something little on outgoings. Partey, if Arsenal signing number 6, Partey will leave. Ramsdale leaving, 100%. We are going to get a new goalkeeper. Rhys Nelson has told Arsenal that he wants to leave, 100%. Nketiah, his departure means Arsenal sign a new a new striker. So we might lose around 4 to 5 players. And Lokonga is out of the door. Nuno Tavares, Lazio, and Ajax have approached Arsenal and the player to try and get him. John says, Cossy, I'm wondering where Arsenal are getting the money, signing all these big players. And then Miss Melina says, hi, how are you doing, Miss Melina? Hope you're doing very, very well. Now, where are Arsenal getting their money? I think we've got to understand, and I think Arsene Wenger has talked about this all the time, that during his time, Arsenal had a project, which was the Emirates Stadium, that they were trying to work on. And that project took a lot of money. That project took a lot of, the club funds. After the Emirates Stadium completion, Arsenal had the chance to reinvest in the team and reinvest in the squad. So Arsenal have never been poor like all these scumbags that support Manchester United have been saying. You do not have money. Come on. Arsenal have always had their money. We have always had money. The difference is where have we been spending the money, right? And also, one of the reasons why you see Arsenal spending well is we are buying players that are good, right? we are investing 30 million on Odegaard. We are investing 30 million on Zinchenko. We are investing 60 million on Kai Havertz. Those are sensible. We are doing sensible transfers. With sensible transfers, it means that you don't have to invest in one position too many times. I think the one position that Arsenal have failed at has been DM, because Lakonga didn't work. Really, it didn't work, right? And Partey has been injury prone. But if Partey was not injury prone, DM would have been sorted for some time. And then the other position that we have failed at has been left back. And I think Mikel Arteta not getting Lisandro Martinez, that's the reason. So Arsenal have always had their money. Don't say that we didn't have our money. We've always had our money, right? We've always had our money. The difference is that right now we have more money to spend on signings than spending on a stadium. And we have one of the best stadiums as well. And we're making more money because Arsenal are back on top. More TV money, more prize money from the Premier League, more money from the Champions League, more money from tickets, more money from jerseys. We are in a good position. We are in a very good position. Thank you so much for joining me right on this one. Thank you so much. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me speak to you soon.